Hello, this is Live with Michelle Vann, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. Today we are here with Dr. Rita Stanley. Oh, if you know anything about me, you know that, I'm a little crazy, but Dr. Stanley helps keep my crazy in check because she got me on some great hormones that have helped make my life much better. I don't have as many personal summers. So, Dr. Stanley, tell us who you are and what you do in the world, how you make this world a better place.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I am Dr. Rita Stanley, and I've been practicing internal medicine for 35 years, board certified in internal medicine. 20 of those 35 years was your primary care kind of care. The last 15 has been what we call functional medicine, where I really can help people and really get to the root cause of whatever ails them and support what's missing. So get to the root, support what's missing, people get better. It's wonderful.
So as we think about functional medicine, because I think that's probably not a term that people are used to. They're used to going to a doctor and getting prescribed, a whole lot of medicine, a lot of drugs. So what is functional medicine? How is that different than a traditional sort of practice?
Yeah, well, traditionally we're trained to diagnose. We ask the question, what is this? What is this? This is hypertension. How do we treat it? So we're trained to diagnose and treat generally with pharmaceuticals. That's how we're trained. And the other thing about traditional medicine, it tends to put us in individuals, patients into these silos. So you're coming in today because of blood pressure. You're coming in because of diabetes. In functional medicine, we look at human beings, we look at people in a more systematic way. So if you come in with hypertension, I can't separate out your hypertension from your hormone health or from whether or not you're inflamed in your body or whether or not your body's capable of detoxing. So I have to take what you're coming to me about and look at it in a broader sense. And the way we do that is to measure certain things, and traditional medicine measures as well. But in functional medicine, we're looking for what we call core clinical imbalances, and there's about 5 of them: inflammation, hormone imbalance, immune system dysfunction, GI dysbiosis or problems with the bacteria in your gut, and the whole detox piece of it. So we measure inflammation, we measure hormone system, not just ovaries and testicles. We measure the system of hormones. We look for indication of your gut not functioning right. We look for food sensitivities. So we're looking for those root causes, because we know if we can identify the root cause, deal with that, then you likely will never get the diagnosis that requires a pharmaceutical. Or if you already have a diagnosis, let's take, for instance, diabetes, then there are things that we can do that will allow you to come off of those medications. Diabetes is reversible, folks, like crazy. So, and it's not—
say that one for the people in the back.
No, diabetes is reversible. Yeah. And it happens quickly. Once you get a handle on what you need to do, you're empowered with information, and you're going to do it because you want to get better.
And so as we think about things that are reversible, diabetes, some heart disease situations can be reversed. What are ways in which people can really get a grasp on that?
Well, I think that if you've been given a diagnosis, just about any kind of diagnosis, and you say, I don't want to take this medicine, or I want to get better, even before you can see a functional medicine person like myself, you can begin to change and start with your food. I would say if you only could do one thing to change whatever it is you've been diagnosed with, change your food. And let me hone in even deeper. Change the amount of sugar and carbs and flour and wheat and bread and crackers and pasta and rice and potato.
Okay, so we have this conversation all the time because you be trying to mess up with my fries. That's my one vice.
Yeah.
So we have this love-hate thing that, I love her to life, but I have a hard time giving up my fries.
And this is what I know I told you. I said, it's not like you have to give up something forever and ever and ever. It's like, I'll never have another fry. What I ask people to do is locate yourself. Come on, let's be honest with self. How frequently are you eating whatever this is? And then just make an adjustment. And I mean, every little bit helps. And you'll feel it. I mean, you'll feel it before I measure it again and see the improvement. So I would say step one, if you couldn't do anything else, just look at what you're eating, switch from lots of carbs, go for the vegetables, the meat, protein, eggs, healthy fats. There's a lot left to eat, even when you lower the amount of carbs.
So if food is medicine,
Mhm.
and we tend to, as Black people, we tend to cook the heck out of food.
Yeah.
Our food is real limp.
Mhm. Mhm.
Are we cooking all the nutrients out of it?
Yeah. And some of that's, a lot of it is cultural. I just think we have to understand that the longer you cook, the higher the heat, you're losing some of the nutritional value. So, learning how to uh, cook it, cook it long enough where you still have some substance or bite to it, so it's not mushy and just breaking up when you put it in your mouth. Gradually working back to shorter times of cooking, and then you'll get a more nutritionally rich whatever product that is. The one thing I think we do well as people of color that cooks forever, because I think we've been doing bone broth for ages.
Okay.
Where when that.
Let's hold on to that. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. Let's talk about that bone broth on the other side of this
Okay.
this commercial break. So this is Live with Michelle Vann, where we're talking with Dr. Rita Stanley, and we're talking today about our health. This is Women's History Month. We're talking about health because women, we've got a lot of issues. We'll be right back. Dr. Rita Stanley and the Revital Wellness Center family would like to invite you to their grand opening, March 21st, 2022, at their new office location, 1125 Southwest Gage Boulevard, Suite C, Topeka, Kansas. Revital Wellness Center offers functional medicine focused and centered on disease prevention, healthy longevity, utilizing whole foods, nutritional supplementation, stress reduction, exercise, and plant-based hormone support. They're also going to be offering IV and IM therapies. New patient specials are available. Mention this ad and receive $10 off of the treatment of your choice. Again, this is March the 21st, 5 to 6 p.m. Light refreshments will be served. Dr. Stanley offers a full functional medicine consultation and treatment, hormone replacement for men and women, supplemental pharmacy with home delivery, and so much more. Be sure to come by the new location for a tour, light refreshments, and an opportunity to meet with Dr. Rita and her team. Again, March 21st, 2022, 5 to 6 p.m. Come on by and say hello. Join Dr. Stanley every Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for Speak with Dr. Rita. This is a time where Dr. Stanley will come live on Facebook and share with you various information about hormones, menopause, functional medicine, and any other thing that you have questions about. This is a time where you can ask questions to the doctor. Come on live, Facebook Live, Thursdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and meet with Dr. Rita. This is Live with show Vann. We are talking today with Dr. Rita Stanley, and we are talking about our health. So we ended up talking about vegetables, cooking them sometimes a shorter period of time, so there's a little more crunch and less, less soggy, more crunchy. And then you started to talk about bone broth. Let's talk about that, because I think we see it on television. We see it, maybe even in the store, but I don't think that people really know how to use it or why it's important.
Right. Yeah, bone broth has probably been around for hundreds of years. And it's so simple, I think that we miss the benefit of it. So basically, bone broth is a broth where bones are the skeleton of whatever animal you want to put in there, including fish shells, but I do chicken. So chicken bones, chicken cartilage. When I make chicken bone broth, I buy some chicken feet and put it in there because that'll add collagen. So you put the chicken bones, porcus, you put onions and celery and garlic and whatever herb. You put it in either a big old pot, like I remember my grandmother having,
Right.
or these days you can put it in a slow cooker and cook it for hours. So here's what happens. When you cook it low for hours, then you'll get different nutrients, vitamins and minerals that are pulled from the bone. You'll get collagen, you'll get amino acids, you'll get these powerful substances that are pulled into this broth. And so 15, 20 hours later, you've got medicine in a cup. And so when I make mine and strain off the vegetables and
Right.
spices, I drink a cup or two. It is delicious. It smells good. You can season it however you want to, but just know that every time you make it yourself and drink it, your body is getting these powerful vitamins and minerals and amino acids.
And when you're making it, then you're able to control the amount of sodium that's in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so I may add a little bit to my cup, but I usually don't salt the big batch.
Okay.
Because the other thing I'll do with it is I'll cook everything in it. I'll put my green beans in it. I'll put my greens, my cabbage.
Versus using water.
Yeah, and it just lifts the flavor. Oh my goodness, to a whole nother level.
And it keeps you from having to put a pork or some other kind of meat in there. When you're using the broth.
Right. That's right. Because I find when I cook cabbage with the bone broth, I don't put anything else in it meat-wise.
Okay.
So that should be on our daily or weekly. We should always have bone broth around.
Okay. So that's one of the things. So if we're looking at ways in which we're going to improve our health, I think as a kid, I think all of us have, been that kid that needed that chicken noodle soup. And basically this broth would do the same thing.
Oh. And that whole myth about grandma's chicken soup healing, that's science, because grandma's chicken soup was based on this broth that cooked for hours. And so literally, yeah, you were getting things in that soup that helped your immune system.
So my kids used to make fun of me because after Thanksgiving, I would take that whole turkey carcass and put it in there and just boil it and then make other things. So I was doing good stuff and I didn't even know it.
That's right. That was good stuff.
So if medicine is medicine or food is medicine, that would be the first thing that we really need to look at. So what are we eating? And then probably what's the next thing that we need to be really looking at, or ways in which we can kind of heal ourselves?
The whole term lifestyle. But let me break that down. Let's talk about sleep. I would say food, sleep, stress reduction.
Okay.
So, we neglect our sleep. We neglect the fact that God created us with a clock.
Right.
Body's saying the whole circadian clock. And so there's an expectation in our brain and our body that we're going to be asleep at a certain time, because that's the time that melatonin is released that helps us to relax. And so we have so violated that now we are suffering the consequences of it. So I tell people, work on your food and then start getting in the bed by 10, no electronics, none. The room is dark. It's
It's
cool.
that whole electronics business, but okay.
Yeah. I had a lady come in today and she was just following up and she said, you know what? I think it's made more difference than anything. She said, I started turning my phone, any electronic off at 8. And then I just wind down by doing mindless things. I mean, maybe straightening up my closet or something like that. So she just
Hmm.
rids her world of any clutter, information stuff. And she
Hmm.
says since then she feels better through the day. Her husband says, you're not as grouchy as you used to be. You're not as so, it really does make a difference when we take control of our sleep.
I think there is something to that because I think even with little kids, so in my
Mhm.
teaching situation, um, having that time, having kids away from those electronics does make a difference.
It really
And I
does.
do see that there is some space and place in which they get a little crowded. They
Hmm.
don't put technology too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that that's a thing.
Mhm.
So how do we how does a person know if say they have sleep apnea?
Mhm. Yeah. And there's really only one way to really know, and that's to be tested, to have sleep studies. And I so encourage if people saw a young lady yesterday, very overweight, snores when she sleeps. Her mother talks about her all the time, snores when she sleeps, just no, can't lose weight. There's a whole litany of things. And I took her through the functional medicine process. But I said, has your primary ever sent you for sleep studies? And no. But she did remember that at a time when she lost 100 pounds, the snoring stopped. So I said to her, you must ask your doctor to get you scheduled for a sleep study. Because if you have sleep apnea and we're not addressing that, then the things that I'm trying to help you with will be less beneficial.
Right.
And so she's going to get that done. I'm guilty. I have a diagnosis of sleep apnea for
Right.
years, went into denial for about 10 years, didn't want to do
Right.
the CPAP. And you know how God is like, okay, so you're telling people what you gonna do? You're gonna,
Right.
so finally I said, well, let me get retested, Lord, to see if this is a true diagnosis. Retested, diagnosis still there. PAP machines had improved. So now
Right.
I look forward to putting that CPAP machine on. If I don't, I wake up tired. So knowing whether you have sleep apnea is vital. And if you're one, the young lady yesterday has severe hypertension, multiple medications. They can't control her blood pressure. She's got sleep apnea. Until that's addressed, the blood pressure control is not going to be adequate.
Okay. All right. So that's sleep. So food and sleep.
Food,
All
sleep,
right.
and stress.
Ooh, we'll talk about stress when we come back.
Okay.
Well, this is Live with Michelle Vann, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. We're here and we are talking to Dr. Rita Stanley about our health today. So we will be right back. Sisters Can We Talk presents Healing to Heal. It all begins in April 30th, 2022. Our doors will open at 8 a.m. We have a suggested ticket price of $50, which includes lunch and swag. Our keynote speaker will be Angela Pye, author of Black Mother Dying. We also will have other panelists from the community that have been impacted and are impacted by the whole idea of womb health and maternal health. We will also have a discussion as it pertains to the whole ideal of womb healing. So I promise you, there will be something for every woman that attends. Free vaccinations will be available, as well as incentives for those that get boosted. We thank you for taking the time to consider coming and being a part of this event. For more information or to do your registration, please go to sisterscanwetalk.com. All right, this is Live with Michelle Vann. We are here and we are talking to Dr. Rita Stanley. I can't talk today. And we have been talking about health. So we talked about medicine being our food. We have talked about the fact that we need to sleep. And then you talked about stressors. Ooh, what do we do with getting that stress out of our life?
You first have to recognize it. I find that most people, they're so used to it They don't even realize until I show
Dysfunction
them.
is their function.
Yeah. And I say, look, let me show you your lab. Let me show you what your adrenal gland is not doing anymore well, because you have worked it out. And so sometimes it takes showing people what it looks like in their body before they go, oh my God. And so I say to them, now I'll support their adrenal gland with vitamins and blah, blah, blah. But I say to them, you must sit down, take the time, acknowledge your stressors. What are you
Right.
doing?
Mm-hmm.
What has God told you to do? What are you doing out of your own flesh? And just really begin to tell people no, and do it for you. Because if you continue at a pace like that, it's just not going to be good. So you have to identify the stress, first of all, and then make the adjustments. Of course, again, good food is going to help heal the adrenal gland. Good sleep is going to help heal the adrenal gland from all the effects of the stress. So it's like I said, we're made of these systems that work together. It's not like our heart works alone, and it works together. So when we make those adjustments in what we're doing and move some things from our plate, then our brain will say, okay, that stress is reduced. So therefore, I don't have to tell the adrenal gland, spit that cortisol out, get her blood pressure up, it'll just allow things to, because all stress is not bad. God gave
Mm-hmm.
us a stress defense system, but it was supposed to be
Right.
on, off, but now
Right.
ours is on all the time.
And so as we start to look at the ideal of self-care as the ideal of, I think you gave me a gift in the ideal of, hey, once a month you need to go get a massage or do a yoga or do something that, because I think sometimes we consider those things indulgent
Exactly.
when they really are about helping reduce our stress, helping really get us on a path of healing, of restoration. And I think that's so when we look at the fact that we're not sleeping, we don't ever get to that space and place of renewal. And so we're always tired.
That's exactly right. And then the other piece of it, particularly as believers, we have a wonderful mechanism of, the whole world of mindfulness. You hear those terms now, ways to reduce your stress, being mindful, meditating. Those are really biblical principles that have sort of been waylaid by, but we really have to learn how to go in. I say go into God. But what I mean by that is go into that place where what your mind is on is his promises, the word. What does the word say about peace? What does his word say about supply? And those things that keep us all bound up. But we have to take time every day to get into that quiet place, meditate, mutter the word, get our minds centered in on his promises. And we've been on a lesson at church about being fully persuaded that God will do exactly what he said he will do in any given situation, so that we can, and just not always be in that survival mode.
And I think you said something that you said, I think we have to meditate. And I think sometimes people think of meditation as this, medieval sort of, that there's the devil, you're meditating, that's the devil, and I think that there are some places, the scripture tells us to meditate on the word. And so there is a space and place in which it's what we're focusing on that's the issue.
That's exactly. Yeah, and you're right. We know in when God was talking to Joshua about meditating on the word day and night, on the word day and night. So you're right. We have to know that meditation is what we should be doing, but what it is we're meditating on is the difference and the difference maker.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us what number 4 is that we need to be looking at.
Let's see. We talked about food.
We talked about food. We talked about
sleep.
stress. We talked about sleep.
Number four. Well, this is very kind of selfish, but I believe knowing your hormones and getting your hormones balanced. Because, and I did a Facebook Live this morning on the power of the hormones, because people think hormones equal sex.
Right.
No, In the functional medicine world, you have a hormone system from the brain to the thyroid to the adrenals to the pancreas. And so we have lots of different hormones, and those hormones are these powerful messengers. So they start out in the pituitary, they go to your ovary. They say, ovary, you need to create a follicle, you need to create an egg. So these messengers, these hormones are constantly sending signals to every physiologic system in your body to function appropriately. And so we don't know that. We don't know that. So we underestimate it and think it's just for sex, and we just want that testosterone to have a better whatever. But it's deeper than that. And in functional medicine, we measure the whole system, and we address the whole system.
All right, we have one more section, one more section, and we're going to talk a little bit about COVID because I don't think it's over.
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, this is Live with Michelle Vann. We will be right back in a moment. Hello, this is Live with Michelle Vann. We are talking to Dr. Rita Stanley, and we are talking about health, functional health. We've talked about making sure that our food is our medicine. We've talked about lowering our stress. We've talked about sleeping. We've talked about our hormones. But the last thing I really want us to talk a little bit about is this COVID business, because many of our states, many of our cities have taken away the mask mandates. Many of them have said, hey, we're tired of COVID. We're done with COVID. Just go out there and live your best life. But I'm a little hesitant about that.
Yeah.
So tell me what you're thinking and what you're seeing.
Yeah, and you should be hesitant. And we each, especially now, we have to be listening as much as possible to what is going on. Because first of all, what they're reporting is changing. So we no longer even have the full benefit of knowing really case numbers, positivity rates, some of those things we really got dependent on to manage our own decisions. Because what we're down to now, everybody, is getting the information that allows us as individuals to make the right decision. Do I go back in the office? Do I wear my mask in certain settings? But you need information to make that decision.
True.
So here's the fact of the matter. We just are coming out of this huge Omicron surge. There's no question the number of cases has reduced. The hospitalizations have reduced. The deaths there's no question it's on the downside. But at the same time, we're removing these mitigating protections, like, oh, no more mask mandate. Oh, you can go back into this setting without this. So you're doing two things at the same time. That's not even common sense. The surge, the numbers are coming down. It's not like they've come down and we're on this. No,
we haven't plateaued at all.
Yeah. So we're on the downside of the curve. And then while we're on the downside of the curve, we're removing the protective things that will keep us safe. So I'm encouraged that the numbers are coming down. But then now we've got this subvariant of Omicron, the BA2, 30% more transmissible. We have no idea really what that's going to look like. And a lot of the people I'm listening to are saying, caution, caution. Because if we aren't careful in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, this BA.2, which is now 23% of the infections in the United States, and that's increased even since last week. Last week it was 11.6. This week it's 23%. So the percentage of infections with BA2 is going up. So what does that mean in terms of what is that going to look like? And that's the big question mark. Does that mean that we're going to have these overwhelming numbers of people showing up again at the ER and overwhelming the healthcare system? We don't know. But what we do know is that we've seen this before, and to think that it's going to be maybe a whole lot different, I think is unrealistic. So I say to people, you know you know your conditions, you know the people that you are around that are depending on you to be protected. So that's children, millions of children under 5. These kids have no vaccine.
Right.
You have the immunocompromised. And people think that's people who have these really severe, unusual. No, there are millions of people who have conditions that increase
Hmm.
their risk of severe. So when I make a decision for myself. I'm 65, I'm
Hmm.
high risk. I make a decision for the people that I'm influencing, people
Right.
at church, people that my husband pastors, and for the unknown. I don't know what
Right.
yeah. So I wear my mask. My mask is staying on,
Right.
except when I'm at home with my husband. And so every individual has to make that decision themselves, but hopefully based on information. I want you to, keep your ears open. You'll hear more about wastewater surveillance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty powerful. And wastewater surveillance is never going to replace testing of
True.
individuals, but it will show you trends. And the CDC has I mean, I say they're invested, they are fully supported of individual communities and health departments who do take the time to look at their water, look at
Right.
their wastewater,
Right.
and it'll certainly alert a community. Uh-oh, it's going up, which means
Right.
that more people are shedding the virus. It won't tell us case numbers and that kind
True.
of thing, but at least it'll give you a heads up so you can make some personal decisions.
So as we're looking at this next strand,
Mhm.
are there anything different? Are you getting information that there's anything different that we need to be watching for? Or are that because right now, I mean, there's like, there's still people that are getting COVID.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's people that are getting the flu.
Mhm.
Even though we're moving into spring, there's still this flu is still very much rampant.
Yeah.
This, 24, 48-hour thing that people are getting this bug.
Mhm.
We are, everything is starting to green up, so allergies are starting to be an issue.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what does this look like for this
Mhm.
new variant that we're going to see?
Well, and I think we just have to be ready. Ready meaning you need to have your kits available to test yourself immediately. And those kits are primarily, the COVID kits. But even if you can get in someplace to have flu testing or whatever, when you get symptoms, get tested immediately.
Right.
Secondly, don't let your guard down. Certainly the mask, that's a given. Keep your mask on when you're around people you don't know, particularly in an enclosed setting. Thirdly, keep your I mean, now's not the time to just let yourself go crazy with junk food. This is not the time, because right now we still need our immune system to be working to our benefit. Fourth, probably number one, if you aren't vaccinated, it's not too late. Please get vaccinated, because Kansas and Missouri are still maybe 59% of the population, 60
Right.
at the most, are fully two-dose vaccinated. Get your booster. Booster rate is so low, 20
Yeah.
something percent.
Yeah.
And we know that third shot, that booster shot helps. And now they're working on a fourth one.
A fourth shot. Yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, I think we just have to be and know how to access treatment for monoclonal antibodies, although there's fewer and fewer of them that are effective. But where can I go for monoclonal antibodies if I test positive? And what pharmacies in my community are carrying the antivirals, the Paxlovid, the Molnupiravir. So I think people just have to be prepped at another level. You got to have your stuff in ducks in a row, protecting yourself, ready to easily test and isolate if you need to. And how do I access treatment quickly? Because all of the treatments are you have to get to them in a short time frame for them to be effective.
All right.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm sure we'll have another conversation about this, but I think, as people are just COVID weary,
Mm-hmm.
my numbers have dropped. Like I was having about 50 or so people come in every day to get tested in January, and now I do good to get 5 people a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And same thing with vaccinations. We got a vaccination clinic going right now, and there might have been one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll, that just really hurts me to know that vaccinations have flattened,
Mhm.
testing has flattened. So we just almost know what's going to happen. Um, Unless we luck out and this BA2 is going to be a nothing burger and just will, not. Or here's the other thing, Michelle, is, I mean, there's enough unvaccinated where new variants are going to be produced. We don't know what the next brand new variant's going to look like. But yeah, so.
So
Mhm.
how do people get in touch with you if they say, hey, oh my God, I like freaking love what she said and I want to connect with her?
I keep it real easy. Go to ritastanleymd.com. That's my website. You can get on there. You can schedule what I call a discovery call, which is just an abbreviated call, but it really gets us on one accord that you need some help. Here's how I can help you. And then you make a decision to move on. So go to ritastanleymd.com. That's the easiest way to schedule with me, or just even do a preliminary
All
consult.
right. Well, it has been
Yeah.
awesome again. And this is Dr. Rita Stanley. And I am Michelle Vann. And this is Live with Michelle Vann, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. And this has been our awesome time of talking to a phenomenal Black woman who is doing great things in the world. Have a good day, and you stay tuned, and we will be back with you next week.